Okay, so as I've introduced to everyone, my name is Victoria Suter and I'm the Engagement Manager here, or one of the Engagement Managers here at Blackline Safety. The other Engagement Manager is Jennifer Patosha, and I will be training you on the M6 today. So in the contents, I'm just going to be going over about your device, starting your shift during your shift, generating a manual alert, and receiving a voice call, and ending your shift, and any questions that you have. And please note, if you do have any questions throughout the webinar session, you can type them in at the bottom or raise your hand and I can unmute you and answer them. So let's just talk a little bit about this M6 device. So first of all, some really important things to think about is what kind of service do you have? So there's two types of service to start off with. There is self-monitoring service, where me, a manager, would be managing my employees and I would be responding to the alerts and I would be managing my employees and I would be calling the M6 and making sure that they're okay. The second type of service is 24/7 monitoring service, where us at Blackline monitor the M6 device for you. So we would respond to the protocol, follow that. We would be the ones calling the M6. We would be the ones managing the alerts. So those are the two types of service. And then you have what functionalities have you purchased with the device. So the device comes with two-way voice or it doesn't. So again, you want to double check to make sure if you have purchased a two-way voice, and if you haven't, then you can definitely call into your manager and see if you'd like to upgrade to that. But just to kind of talk a little bit about the M6 device as a standard and what typically most companies do purchase, which is the M6 with the two-way voice. So the M6 has 20 hours of battery. It's really important that we do charge it every night to make sure that we've got a nice full battery the next day, especially if you are sharing the devices amongst employees. Really important that you keep it topped up. The device has GPS capability. So when there is a man-down situation, and if you are monitored by Blackline, we'll be able to see who you are, where you are, and what type of event. And that's obviously goes through if you're self-monitored as well. You'll be able to see exactly the same things. Like I said, it's just depending on which service you've purchased. So please find that out. Okay, so 20 hours of battery, we have GPS, we have the two-way voice, and then we're able to call for help by pulling the latch on the device. And the device can also monitor our safety through different features on the device, such as a no motion, fall detection, and check-in. So that's just a quick kind of once-over of the device. Now, if we move over to kind of when we're looking at it, and I'll just come in a little bit nearer so you can see. So if I look at my M6 device, and if you have your M6s on you, this is great. This is the time to disconnect it from the charger, take it out the box, and look at it with me while I'm doing it. So when I look at my M6, I've got this power button to the left of the latch here, and this is purely to turn my device on and off. I never need to manage alerts or anything like that by pressing on the power button. There is a way to manage alerts on the latch. So this is just to turn the device on and off. Now, as you can see on my PowerPoint screenshot there, inside of my power button, there is showing a solid green light. This is your SureSafe monitoring light. This is a really key part to our device because this informs you that you are being connected and your safety is being monitored. Now, when I talk about your safety being monitored, that really does depend on your go-live date. So if you have purchased 24/7 monitoring with Blackline, then you will be scheduling a go-live date with one of your engagement managers, myself or Jennifer, on when we flick the switch to have Blackline monitor you. Now, when we look at our device at the front, like I said, there's not really a lot to it, but we do have this latch that we can pull out. That is our emergency latch pull, also known as an SOS, so that's you calling for help. Now, as you can see on top of the latch, there is a little kind of bump that protrudes, and that is you allowing you to acknowledge and check in with alerts. So that's primarily where you'll be touching on the device, right down there in the middle of the latch. Now, if I turn over my device, on the back you've got this nice metal crocodile clip, which allows you to fasten it to your chest or your hip, and we'll talk about that when we come into it. And then lastly, on the back is your product label. So on the product label, it gives you your unit ID, and your unit ID is what has been assigned to you. So for example, if this device is shared amongst several users, then whomever has the unit, that's their unit ID. If this is assigned personally to me, Victoria, this is personally my unit ID. What I'm trying to get at, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you ever need help or troubleshooting with your device, call into customer care, give them the unit ID of the device, and then we can quickly find who you are and troubleshoot your device and help you. And don't worry, at the end I will be giving out some phone numbers. Okay, so moving on, and again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please do type them in the chat box. I'm going to make sure that I can visually see that as well. Okay, so starting your shift. So if you have your M6 device on you, I'd like you to disconnect it. You should have all had them nice and fully charged to do this training session, and if not, that's fine. But to start the shift, you want to press the power button on your M6 device. So here we go. I just pressed it nice and firmly once, and as you can see, my device is flashing green. So what that's telling me is that my device is trying to connect to the cellular network. This is a 3G device. So as an end user, it's really important that I do wait for a solid green light before I start my shift. If you have any issues with that, call customer care and we can figure out what's going on. Okay, so there we have it. Solid green light. That means I'm connected and I'm ready to start my shift. Next thing I want to do is I want to wear it. So I don't really have a shirt that I put it on my pocket, but if you're wearing, you know, a one-piece overall or anything like that, you can definitely clip it to the pocket. If not, you simply just want to clip it onto the side of your hip, just like so. So as you can see, it's on the side of the hip. It's easy to get to, and that way it's picking up my movement, etc., and it can manage me successfully. So the reason why we have it on the hip or the chest is because the way the device has been specifically designed is for the hip and the chest. This is kind of my center of gravity around here as well. So I'm not going to get a lot of false alarms if I've got it on my hip, because everything's tied into my movement and everything from there. Another reason that I'm wearing it is because if suddenly my device starts alarming, I can quickly manage it by pressing down on the latch once to tell the device that I'm okay. So I'm going to be able to feel it, hear it, and see it. So vibrations, sound, and lights. If I'm not wearing it, or if I leave it unattended, for example, you know, leave it on the desk unattended, then it is going to lead to false alarms, because my device doesn't know that I've left it unattended. My device just thinks that I'm not moving, and then it will check on me and see what's happening. So it's really, really important to not leave the device unattended. And the big component here is that emergency latch pull. So if you need to call for help, the device can't help you if it's not on you for you to quickly and easily do that. If it's on the desk somewhere and you've left the building, then it can't really help you. And the whole point of our devices is to help safety protect you while working alone. So it's so important to wear it at all times so the device can do its job. And this is the service that you've paid for. This is what you want. So it's important to make sure that message is sent across to everyone to always wear the device. You know, I always think if my sister was working alone, I would want her wearing the device, and I know she would with me. So it's kind of that respect. You know, letting my family sleep at night, knowing that I'm wearing my device while I'm working alone. Okay, so we understand how important that is. So I'll move on to during the shift. So during the shift, your device might ask you to confirm one of the following: no motion, full detection, or check-in. Now, you might not have the check-in enabled, or you might not want it turned on. That's completely up to you. I know when I speak to a lot of customers over the phone, some of them are unsure if they want the check-in on or off. Until they've had the training, that's fine. But just so you know, this device is configurable. So if you don't want the check-in on, or if you want to amend some sensitivity settings and timers, employees, speak to your managers and we can do that. And if you're a manager on the call, then talk with your team and you can go into your portal account and we can adjust that. Okay, so the no motion, fall detection and check-in. So the great thing about our device is the device does all the hard work. So the device figures out if you haven't moved. The device figures out if you've fallen. The device is checking on you because you've got a 2-hour check-in enabled. So all you need to do is reply to the pending alarm when it comes in. So I'm going to see if I can trigger my device to get it into a full detection. There we go. So this is my pending alarm, everyone. This is my device saying, hey Victoria, are you okay? And I'm simply going to press down on the latch once to tell the device I'm okay. So here we go. And that's it. So let's pretend I didn't do a full detection, and let's say my device started alarming. That could have been my full detection, my no motion, or my check-in. To me, the end user, I'm not really bothered which one it is. All I know is my device is asking me if I'm okay, and I've said, yes, I am okay. And that's it. That's all there is to the device. Pretty simple, right? If you are unable to acknowledge your pending alarm, then it's going to escalate. So after that second, so here, I'll let that full detection go in again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it run so you can see what happens if you do not get to the device in time. So remember, this could be your 2-hour or 1-hour check-in, whatever you configure it to. This could be a full detection, or this could be a no motion. So my device is saying, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm unable to manage the alert and to tell the device I'm okay. So shortly, it's going to escalate to a high alarm. And that's when it goes to the monitoring personnel. So here we go. That's in a high alarm. Just bear with me here. I'm just doing a little bit of multitasking in the system so I can explain some things. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk through what's happening right now. So number one, my device is in a high alarm. I'm just going to bring on the screenshot so you can see what's happening. So it's in a high alarm. This has now gone to the monitoring personnel, whether it's your managers and supervisors because you're self-monitored, or Blackline monitoring because you purchased a 24/7 monitoring. Either way, someone is going to be responding to your alert. How do you know that someone has received this high alert? Which is often a question asked with most companies using previous monitors. So what we've actually done as a company is we provide you a blue light, which is called the live response light. Now, you should be able to see it, because I've got the red going on, it kind of looks a bit purpley, but you can see there is a blue light in there, and if I turn it onto the side, you can see it down there as well. So you know that there is a monitoring personnel that has received my alert. And what that's telling me now is a voice call is going to come in. Now, as you can see, my device is continually high alarming. I cannot cancel this alert once it's gone through, but I can definitely silence it. So what I need to do is, number one, I need to make sure my latch is in place. Okay, yes it is. And number two, I need to make sure that I hold down on a latch for 3 seconds. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. And what I've done is I've now silenced my high alert. I haven't cancelled it, I've silenced it. Now, because I'm in training with you guys and demonstrating, I'm absolutely fine. Oops, sorry, give me a second here. Okay, I just believe my... Sorry, bear with me a second. Just going to silence that. So what's happening is I've got my blue response light, and sorry, I haven't cancelled it, I've silenced it. Sorry, I forgot where I was. Now, obviously, if I'm in a false alarm and I'm just testing, as you can see, I'm fine. This is okay to silence it. But if we kind of role play here and actually think of a live emergency event, you are not going to be bothered about this sound. In fact, we want this sound to stay on because it's going to give us, you know, when EMS arrive on site, I mean, touch wood, they don't have to, but if they arrive on site, they're going to be obviously looking for you, and we're going to give them your location, your GPS location, but also they're going to be listening for the sounds and the lights. You know, you could be in dark, you could be under, you know, a ton of rubble or anything like that. So those noises are really important. So the only reason I've silenced it is because I'm okay and I'm doing it for demonstrative purposes. Now, as you can see, I've still got my blue light happening. So that means the monitoring personnel are going to be calling me. Now, I've been talking a lot, but the voice call does connect within 1 minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play you the voice call now, so you can see what it sounds like live. Just bear with me a second here. Just going to play this. Okay, I'm just going to turn that on, sorry.
Blackline, if you received an emergency alert, is everything okay?
Yep, I'm fine. It was just a false
Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
alert.
Okay, can I confirm who I'm speaking with?
Yep, this is Carmen.
Okay, we'll go ahead and resolve the alert. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Nope, that's okay, thanks.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the voice call. So now that they've spoken to me and I've confirmed that I'm okay and I'm safe, they are now going to resolve the alert in the system, and then my blue light will go out. So that is a typical kind of pathway to what happens. The device has a pending alarm, you say I'm okay. If you don't confirm that you're okay within your configured time, which could be 30 seconds, 60 seconds, again, this is up to your management team to configure this. So that's up to your team to configure that. But depending on the time that you have, you would acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, it's going to escalate like you saw, and then the monitoring personnel are going to call you, and you know that you cannot cancel the alerts, but you can silence it. So there is just a quick rundown. Now, what I'm also going to show you is, and talk to you, is about our check-in. So I'm going to go back to my slide here. So if you do decide to have a check-in enabled, you can configure it to check on you every hour, every 2 hours. So as soon as you turn on your device and you get a solid green light, your check-in timer begins. And then that's when that pending alarm comes in within the 2 hours or whatever you've got configured for you to press on the latch and tell the device you're okay. Now, if you would like to as well, you can ask your manager to enable the early check-in. So the early check-in allows you to check in early whenever you want throughout your day. And you do that by pressing down on the latch for 3 seconds until you feel 2 vibrations. So I'm going to hold down, 1 vibration, 2 vibrations, and release. And what I've just done is I've checked in and I've reset my timer. It doesn't raise any alerts or anything to any monitoring personnel or your managers. It just allows you to check in and reset your timer. We also have a driver check-in. So if you're driving above 35 kilometers an hour, which is 22 miles per hour, it automatically checks you in. So you shouldn't have any pending alarms or anything while in the car moving and driving. Okay, so I'm just checking for questions. I think we're good. So I'm now going to move on into the manual feature. So pulling your emergency latch. So if I need help for whatever reason, I can pull my emergency latch. So if I pull my emergency latch, it's really simple. I just pull it out. And what's going to happen is that it's going to raise a high alarm, and then the monitoring personnel are going to receive it. There is no going back once I pull that latch. That is me physically calling for help. So here we go. And what I'm going to do is I am going to silence it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to quickly manage it in the system. Just give me a quick second. Okay, so I've pulled my emergency latch. As you can see, the blue light is already happening. Now, the monitoring personnel would be calling me within a minute. But what I can do, if this is a 100% false alarm or I'm testing, I can definitely silence my emergency latch pull, but I cannot cancel it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my latch over and press it in. And then I'm going to hold it down for 3 seconds. So you always need to pull the latch in. So 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So now what I've done is I've silenced my emergency latch pull, but I haven't cancelled it. Now the voice call will be coming in within a minute. Someone's going to be checking on me to see if I'm okay. And then once I've spoken to them and I'm okay, they will then resolve the alert in the system and my blue light will go out. So, ladies and gentlemen, that really does conclude, and I'm going to talk about some other things in a second here, that does conclude kind of what we're talking about in regards to our training. So now I'm going to move over into the notification section. So just before I do, I'm just going to do a quick recap. So we understand that the device needs to be turned on and we need to have a solid green light. So I'm just going to make sure my webcam's in focus. There we go. So we need to make sure my device is turned on and I have a solid green light to show that I'm connected. The next thing I need to do is I need to wear it on the side of my hip or my chest. Okay, so green light, wear it. Then if I ever hear my device sounding that pending alarm, all I need to do is press down on my latch once to tell the device I'm okay, and if I need help, I pull my latch. And that is all there is to the device. It keeps it nice and simple and easy to use. So now I'm going to move over into notifications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something on my device to show you something. So just bear with me a second. So I want to show you, if you ever see this happening on your device, a blinking green light, this means that your device is currently disconnected, okay? So if I've got it on my chest and I see this blinking green light, that means I'm currently disconnected. So the first thing I'm going to do is I can walk around in the area and see if I connect. If I don't, I can call customer care. Questions I need to ask myself are, do I typically work alone in this area, or am I just popping in and grabbing some tools and leaving? If I work for 8 hours in this training room, that's a red flag for me, because I need my device to be seamlessly connected for 8 hours in this room. But if I just pop in this room every now and then, a blinking green light while I pop in this room isn't going to bother me. The great thing about our device, if it is disconnected, it does store messages. So if you do have a fall detection and it escalates or you pull the latch, your device will remember that, and as soon as it's connected, it will send that message through. So remember, if we have a blinking green light, it means that we're not connected. If you would like to have a second layer of notification, like, well, you know, I might not notice that my device is blinking green, is there anything else we can do? The answer is yes. So we can actually set up what is called a lost alarm, and with that lost alarm, basically what that is it's giving you a notification on your device and telling you, hey, you've lost connection, think about, you know, do something about it. So that notification alarm, I'm just going to show you here what that sounds like. Just give me a second. I'm just going to turn on my laptop to make it loud. I'm going to play you the sound. And I'll play it one more time for you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that sound is your device. If you want to configure it that way, you can. So talk to your manager and say, yes, I would like my lost signal alarm set up because I want it to notify me if I lose connection. So we can set that up. If you don't want, if it's currently not set up, you'll need to ask your manager to get it set up. Second notification is low battery. So if you have a low battery, if you have a low battery, what it's going to do is it's going to chirp every 5 minutes. At the bottom of the device, it's going to flash red, and you're going to hear that chirping. And what that's doing is basically letting you know that you've got a low battery, and it will let you know within 20%, so you've got a couple of hours left. So that's your notification for low battery. Now, I have a low battery, so I'm going to charge it, okay? Now, if I decide to charge it, what's going to happen is my device is automatically going to power down as soon as I place it on the charger. Why? Because it has no motion, fall detection and check-in and things like that enabled. I don't want to have this device on the charger and left online and then left unattended. As a company, we can't do that because that will lead to false alarms, possibly false dispatches. So what we do, if you do decide to not power it down correctly and just place it on the charger, your device will automatically power down. So let's talk about powering down and ending your shift. So to power down, the correct way to look after your device, to make sure it has a nice long lifespan, is to power it down by pressing on the power button for 3 seconds. So this is how we power down. So if you have your devices, you can do this with me. 1, 2, 3. And then as you can see, my device is starting to flash and then it's going to disconnect. I need to wait for all of these lights to go out before I can place it on the charger. And it's very important when you're powering down that you do not power down on a flashing green light. You must power down when you have a nice, full, solid, connected light, because that allows us to send the message that you're logging off, okay? So you need to get into an area where you have a solid green light to power down. That's really, really important. Okay, so all my lights are out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on my charger. So with your charger cable, you should have a white clip. Your white clip clips onto the charger cable, and then your clip just slides into the device. And at the bottom of the device, you can see a red light. Now, my device is fully charged. How do I know that? Because it has a solid red light. Now, you only need 4 hours for a full charge. So if I was to plug this in and it was flashing, that means that my device is A, charging, and B, it needs to be charged. Now, a little tip with our devices, I want to see if this one has a flashing light so I can show you what is happening here. Okay, that's fine. So if your device is flashing red at the bottom, it might be flashing twice, pause, twice, pause, twice, pause. So now I know I have a flash sequence of 2 times. So if you want to know your end user, me the end user, I want to know where my battery percentage is at. Number 1, I can call my manager and ask them. Or number 2, I can look at my flashing red light, and that, with a little calculation that I'm going to give you a little tip on, you can actually figure out where your battery percentage is at. So if this is flashing twice, pause, I'm going to times those flashes by 2. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. Then what I want you to do is minus 1, which is 3, and that's approximately at 30%. So that's roughly where you're at, and that's where you can tell. Now remember, we only need 4 hours for a full charge, and if you leave it on overnight, that's absolutely fine as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, before we get into questions, I want you to take down this customer care phone number, 1877-869-7212. This is the phone number to call if you ever need help with your device, troubleshooting, questions, training questions, you can call customer care. So just to summarize everyone, disconnect the device from the charger, we power it up, wait for a solid green light, on the hip or the chest it goes. If you hear it and it sounds that pending alarm, you just need to press on the device and manage that alert and tell the device you're okay. If you need help, pull the latch. And remember, we can't cancel high alarms, but we can silence them by holding on the latch for 3 seconds. And then at the end of your shift, you want to make sure you've got a solid green light and you power down for 3 seconds, wait for all the lights to go out, and then place it on the charger ready for the next person to use.